This is the Vegas Huddle with Mike Davis.
Welcome inside the Vegas Huddle. Today we're joined by another legend. This guy's known for two things: saving baseball games and having the best mustache in all of sports history. The great Rollie Fingers is here with us, a Hall of Famer. Rollie, thanks so much for being here, Las Vegas local. How you been?
I've been doing great, playing a little bit of golf and kicking back and relaxing, enjoying retirement, so it's been fun.
You've been out here for 20 years. Tell us, the Las Vegas community, I mean, you grew up in Ohio, you grew up a little bit in California. How do you like Las Vegas?
I love Las Vegas except for June, July, and August, like everybody else. Right now this is a perfect time of the year. Your temperatures are in the mid 80s, and it'll be like that through May, and then right around the 1st of June, bang, it's triple digits, and then I stop playing golf.
Right.
I put the clubs in the garage and wait for September to come around again. So, but I enjoy living out here. It's pretty easy living. I enjoy myself. Like I say, I play some golf if I want to go to the Strip and see a show, or you want to go out and have a nice meal. They got 1,000 great restaurants in this town, so it's nice living here. I enjoy it.
Is it amazing for you, as you reflect on your career, the way Vegas has transformed into a sports city? It never used to be that way. You'd have Sinatra here, you'd have that, but now to have hockey here, to have the Raiders here, maybe the A's one day.
Yeah,
what do you think about it?
I think this city, Las Vegas, is a destination city. I mean, if you it's just like hockey. When the hockey team plays the Flyers or whoever, the city that they're playing, those people will come to Las Vegas for 3 or 4 days, party, and go see a hockey game. And you have the Raiders here. They're only going to play 8-9 games, but whoever they're playing, that city is going to be in Las Vegas for a week, partying, watching that football game, getting ready for it. So
it's a beautiful thing.
It's being a destination city like this. It's great for sports, and baseball would be the same thing. You have 81 home games. Yankees come in here, the Red Sox come in here, or Giants or the Dodgers or whatever. They're going to pack the house.
Have you been to Las Vegas ballpark with the Aviators? Have you seen any of that?
I've seen about 4 or 5 games up there. Beautiful stadium,
right?
They never had minor league team ballparks like that when I played.
Right.
We played some dog tracks.
Well, let's talk about your career, because I think there's so much we can learn. You're such an inspiration when we really dive into your story. I think the place to start is as a kid. I just learned this from you. You said you really didn't start playing organized baseball till 12, which is fascinating, because kids nowadays are playing that 3-4 T-ball.
Well, the town I grew up in Ohio, it's a small town. It's coal miners, steel workers, and there was only like 7 or 8 kids in the whole town that were my age, and we didn't have enough to have a team. There was no organized ball. We used to play wiffle ball. And, we'd get our broomstick and a wiffle ball, and I used to throw the wiffle ball and make it move, and I think that's where I fell in love with baseball, making a ball move. So then my dad came home from work one day and said, "We're moving to California," and we sold the house for $1,300 furnished, and he bought a '54 Buick, and we loaded us in, and we drove to California.
And I heard you guys had to sleep in sleeping bags.
Sleeping bags on the side of the road, and got to California, and he couldn't find a job, and he ended up going back into steel mills. So, but I grew up in Southern California, and they had Little League. There was more people there then, so I got into Little League, and my first year I made the All-Star team, and that's the first year I played organized ball.
And it's kind of a cool thing, because if you think about it, seeing is believing, and for a little kid to see the way a wiffle ball moves with a little bit of effort, you can see those gains earlier than you can with a traditional baseball at 12. So it probably helped you fall in love with it.
Oh, yeah. Well, throwing a wiffle ball, making a move is a little different than throwing a hard ball. You can make a hard ball move. You have to get a little more velocity and the right spin, and you're getting the seams to work for you to get a baseball to move.
And you kind of do have baseball in your blood when you're growing up, because your dad played in the minors. He was roommates with Stan Musial with the Cardinals. Right. So what was his impact from a baseball standpoint?
I think he taught me more of the mechanics on how to throw baseball. It's tough to teach pitching, but he taught the mechanics, your arm position, your weight position, your drive off of your back leg, your stride and arm and staying on top of the ball, all the mechanics of how to throw a baseball. But pitching is you throw a baseball from the neck down, and you pitch from the neck up. So when you get both of them working together, now you got something.
Wait, say that again? I've never heard this.
Yeah.
You pitch from the... Say that one more time.
You throw a baseball from the neck down.
Okay.
And you
yes.
pitch from the neck up.
Ah, see your brain.
So, yes, you'll have to learn. You can't teach pitching.
Gotcha.
Pitching has to be learned. You have to. Every pitcher is different. So you have to take whatever arsenal of pitches you got out on the mound, and you start experimenting. Well, throw this ball.
Right.
And then you find a combination that might work.
Why was the slider your pitch?
I could throw for a strike. It was it's the hardest, you ask anybody, the hardest pitch in baseball to hit's a good hard slider down and away. It's, it's something that comes in right around 88, 89 miles an hour.
Yeah.
It breaks sharp about 3 or 4 inches and breaks down about 3 or 4 inches, and it's real quick.
And it's so interesting. You were telling me when we just were live on the Moore Show before our interview, you were saying, Musial was actually a pitcher, but wasn't finding a lot of success. And then in the minors, he goes up to bat 4 for 4. Everything changes. So pitching kind of chooses you, I guess.
Yeah. I see. When I signed as an outfielder and a pitcher when I was on my American Legion team. We won the World Series in 1964, and when I wasn't pitching, I was playing left field.
Yeah.
And I led the nation in hitting that year.
Wow.
So, but when I pitched good. So scouts saw me there. There was a bunch of scouts. They didn't know what to do with me. So I went to spring training. Kansas City signed me, so I went to spring training, and they tried me out of both positions, outfielder and pitching. And I hit over 300. But every time I pitched, I got guys out. So somebody, I don't know who it was, said, we think Fingers is going to be a better pitcher than a hitter. So I was done with the hitting.
And nowadays, do you think for youngsters out there to be, flexible, to have that ability to be good at a lot of different things, should it come from them more so now, looking out for their own career and saying, no, I want to specialize in this, or should we be taking coaches' advice and going in the direction they push us? What should youngsters
do? Push the coaches pushing. Because they've been around, they can tell what kind of abilities you have, and if they think that you've got pretty good velocity, pretty good control, and you're an outfielder, well, you might be able to pitch. So they'll try you there. And if it doesn't work out, you can always fall back to the other one.
But at the same time, let's talk about this, because you were looking out for yourself. You got offered a $20,000 contract from the Dodgers. Yeah. They had Koufax and Drysdale at the time. And then, the Athletics give you this $13,000 signing bonus. And that's a big difference for a kid who's traveling from the country, grows up sleeping in, sleeping bags, and your dad's working at a steel mill. So money's a big thing when you see this, but you still had the ability to say no to the $20,000 and take the cheaper deal because you thought you had a better chance of reaching the majors. How did you figure that out?
Well, my dad, more or less, the scout offered us, first he offered us I think $10,000, and my dad said, no, we'll take $15,000. And then they went back, and the scout had to talk to the owner or whoever the general manager was on the phone, and they finally came up with a figure of $13,000. But I did have an offer from the Dodgers for $20,000, and my mom hated the Dodgers, and my dad and I were talking, up in another room, and he was saying, the Dodgers they've got more minor league teams. They've probably got 3 times the minor league teams as any other baseball club. So you got more ball players to deal with. You got Koufax and Drysdale. They just won a World Series.
Right.
You could be buried in the minor leagues for years. And he said, it might be better if we take less money and sign with the A's, and you'll move up through the organization a little quicker.
And since your dad played for the Cardinals in the minors, he was able to advise you. But, when you're inducted, and I encourage everybody at home to really go to YouTube and check out the Cooperstown induction ceremony in '92 when you were inducted. That was when I was born, actually, '92, which is crazy. But it's an amazing thing. Your mom's there, and you really talk about your dad. And I think there's a pivotal moment in your childhood, because here in the Vegas Huddle, we really try to identify critical moments for high achievers and how they get to where they are. And that's why I think there's so much to learn from the great Rollie Fingers, because at 8 years old, there's a story of you almost burning down your neighbor's house. You have to share this story, because the way your dad kind of dealt with it is a really telling thing for the rest of your life. So take us back to wanting this candy at 8 years old.
Yeah. Well, there's a lady across the street from where I lived. Her name was Lottie. I remember everybody knew Lottie, and she always had a little dining room, and she had a bowl out with candy in it. And kids after the school, she loved kids, and the kids would come over and they would take a piece of candy, and that would be it. So I went in one day and I got some candy, and I was calling her name, Lottie, where you at? And I couldn't find her, and she wasn't in the house. So I went upstairs and I went into her bedroom, and there was a book of matches. And I took out the book of matches, and I struck the match, and it slipped out of my hand and went into a little trash can where there was, tissue paper, and tissue paper went up in a hurry, and I just jumped back, and I got scared. I was only 8 years old, and I ran out of the house, and I went across the street and went upstairs into my bedroom and opened up the window, and I'm just laying on my bed looking at the house, and smoke's coming out of the windows upstairs, and the fire department, I hear the fire department coming, and my mom knew there was something wrong. She was at the house. She said she knew something was wrong, and then she questioned me. I said, "Yeah, Mom, I did this." And says, "Oh, wait till your dad gets home." And I said, "Oh my," because if I got in trouble, I got the belts,
right.
And so I hear him. He got home from work. I hear him coming up the stairs, and he got into my room, and he didn't say a word. Didn't say one word to me. He said, "Just grabbed my arm. Downstairs we went. Threw me in the back seat of the car." Went down about 4 or 5 blocks to the jailhouse. He knew the jailer, the marshal in town, and he says, "Give me the keys to one of your cells." So he gave a key to one of the cells. I walked down his cell, and he threw me in this cell and shut it and locked it and left me there for like 4 hours. I was scared to death.
Right. You're 8 years old?
I'm 8 years old. So all I remember doing was I stood on top of the toilet because I was afraid the rats were going to get me.
And at Cooperstown, all these years later, after winning 3 World Series, after winning a Cy Young and MVP, you say you learned 3 things from that experience from your dad.
I never play with matches, and never lie, and I earned his respect.
And you learn to respect
right.
him, and it's an amazing thing because I think it tells a lot about the way your dad was as a human. I'm sure at 8 years old, even now, how old are you right now?
I'm 76.
Can you can probably still in your mind picture that from your bedroom.
Oh yeah.
Seeing that burning house. Can you still see it in your
head?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's something you don't forget. Something like that.
It didn't burn down though to the ground.
No, it didn't burn. It just burned down one of the rooms upstairs, but there was smoke coming out. The fire department got there and pretty quickly. They got there within 5 minutes.
It's and I think it's just a telling story from my opinion because I feel, as you're signing these contracts, you're working your way up to the big leagues, you take advice from Dick Williams and you shift from really being a guy who's a starting pitcher to becoming a relief pitcher, and back, you got to realize it wasn't until 69 where there was, even the statistic of a save. So it was an interesting kind of time period. But to me, I think most athletes nowadays wouldn't be able to receive that message from a boss, an older coach. They wouldn't be able to be honest with themselves and say, listen, my coach has told me I'm not going to see the 9th inning as a starting pitcher. The only way I'm going to see the 9th inning is if I'm a closer.
Exactly.
Why do you think, what did you have inside of you that allowed you to receive that message?
Well, when I was starting, I had a few good games. I threw a couple shutouts. I had 3 or 4 complete games, but then it got to the point where I'd start and I'd get knocked out in the 2nd inning, and I'd get knocked out in the 3rd inning, and then I'd have to wait 4 days to get knocked out in the 2nd or 3rd inning again.
And why was that happening?
I don't know. I think I was more nervous being a starter, and I got to the point where, when am I going to screw up this game? My confidence was really low, and so I had one bad game. I don't even think I got out of the 1st inning. And Dick Williams called me in his office, and he says, from now on, you're going to be our long man in the bullpen. I'm putting John Odom in the starting rotation. So he did that, and I sat out in the bullpen for a couple of weeks, didn't get a whole lot of work. And we were playing the Yankees one day, and we were getting beat like 11-3. And all of a sudden, it's the 8th inning, and we're winning 13-11. We came back, and I'm the only guy left in the bullpen. So it's me or the pitching coach. That's who he's got to throw out. So I go out and I pitched 2 shutout innings, struck out a couple of guys, came back the next night, did the same thing. He brought me in a ball game. I pitched another 2 innings, got a save, and then we went to Boston. And we got in another jam in like the 7th inning, and he called down, get fingers up. I went in, got a save. He called me in his office that night and said, from now on, from the 6th inning on, I'm going to go to you, so be ready. I said, okay.
And internally, you didn't have the same nerves. It was just
no,
a different mentality.
I like, as a starting pitcher, I was a basket case because if I got knocked out now, I got to sit around for 4 days thinking, well, what am I going to do now? Who am I going to face? I was worrying too much about it. Whereas a relief pitcher, I didn't know I was coming in the game till the phone rang. The phone rang, get fingers up. Now I didn't have that much time to think about it, and so I go out there and I do my thing.
Did you have a superstition? What were you doing before while you're waiting for the call?
I was just sitting around, talking with the guys or something. Nothing,
Nothing
giving a few hot foots. I was kind of a clown with the team. I'd mess with the guys, and they get on me too. But I didn't pay that much attention to the game until it hit. We got to about the 5th inning. I'd look up at the scoreboard, see what the score was. Well, this game might be coming my way.
You didn't pay attention to the game.
No, I didn't. I didn't. I kind of had an idea what the score was, but I didn't get into it that much until the 5th inning, and then I'd check out, see what the score was, who the batters were coming up, who we were playing, who I might have to face, who I might have to face, and. It took all the pressure off me about thinking about going into
it. It was a great probably thing for you. It's a very interesting thing. There's a lot we have to talk about. Another thing I really want to just address right now is the mustache. Okay, the mustache.
Okay.
I mean, from what I've read in my research, this was a promotional tool. Charlie Finley, the guy who was the owner of the A's, wanted to get as many players on the team to sport a mustache, and he was going to pay $300 for players to do so. Is this accurate?
Yeah. Well, the Reggie Jackson came to. There was no facial hair in the big league up until '72. It was just taboo. No teams had it, and so.
I mean, the Yankees still don't allow it.
No. There's a Cincinnati. I don't even think does anymore.
Wow.
Still doesn't. But there was no mustaches in the big leagues, and Reggie Jackson came to spring training. He was in a contract. Fight with Charlie Finley, and so he just wanted to upset Charlie Finley. So he showed up at spring training with a mustache, and all the guys on the team, everybody got on Reggie. Said, Reggie, shave it off, man. There's nobody's got mustaches. He said, I'm not going to shave it off for him. I'm going to keep it. So Charlie Finley got wind of what was going on, and there was about 5 of us pitchers in the bullpen. We decided we're going to grow mustaches. And if we grow mustaches, Dick Williams, the manager, is going to say, okay, guys, cut the mustaches off, and then Reggie would have to cut his off. And then Finley found out, and he sent a memo down to the clubhouse, put it on the bulletin board in the clubhouse. Anybody who makes the team on opening day, if you're on the 25-man roster, you're going to get $300 if you have a mustache. Everybody was growing mustaches. That was a week's salary back then.
What year is this?
72.
Oh, my God.
So opening day, Charlie comes down in the clubhouse. He's got 30 checks, $300. 4 coaches, manager, and 25 players. Everybody got their $300, and we started winning. And I think the first 14 games, I think we're 11 and 3 or something like that. And we're the most superstitious animals in the world. Baseball players.
That's right.
Oh, geez. So a couple of guys cut him off. I think John Odom did. He couldn't grow too much facial hair. Campaneris, I think, had to shave his off. But more or less everybody else kept him. And we started winning. And so in '72, we win the World Series.
Right.
And we're the only team with mustaches. And then '73, win the World Series. We got to keep the mustaches. '74, you win. I mean, after 3 world championships, now I'm stuck with this thing.
I love it. It's the only other organization that do this is the Yankees. The 3-peat. But so why let's do an inside baseball on your mustache. Inside baseball on Rollie Fingers' mustache. Why the handlebar? Why the wax? Because I'm sure Reggie just had a mustache.
He just had a mustache.
Why do you have the handlebar?
I was just being different. Nobody else was doing it. I think Mike Epstein had like a Fu Manchu, and other guys were letting their mustaches grow way over their lips and way down. I'm just going to put some wax on and grow a handlebar and see what it looks like. And the press ate it up. All of a sudden, I'm in Sports Illustrated, handlebar and the mustache gang and all this kind of stuff. And everybody started recognizing me with the handlebar mustache. So I just kept it. And I was getting guys out. And that's the big thing. I was getting guys out.
I love it. Here in Vegas with the dry heat, how does that impact the mustache?
Not too bad. No,
it doesn't?
No, it's water soluble. It's like a sticky. You put it on, you shape it, and then you let it dry for about 30 seconds, and it's hard. It doesn't go anywhere. It stays.
Can I feel it?
Yeah. It's just a
Wow.
hard clear wax.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
See? I love that. See, one day I'm going to be as cool as you, and I'm going to be able to make this happen. 17-year career. Let's review this. I mean, so we said 72, 73, 74, win the World Series. You win the American League MVP and the Cy Young Award in 81 with the Brewers. I mean, you became so dominant and synonymous, really, with paving the way for so many closers and relief pitchers. And I know what's great about you, you're such a humble guy. During your speech, you're thanking all your support team, the defensive players that helped you get you out. You're thanking Tug McGraw, Goose Gossage, all these even names that I don't even know of who really paved the way before the stat in 69 of the save. But you really were the modern day guy who ushered in this whole new concept of a closer, right? And without you, we probably wouldn't have guys who are revered like the Mariano Rivera's and those types, right?
Yes, the game really changed towards the in the late '60s. There were a few Dave Justy, Clay Carroll. There were a few Ron Peronowski. There were a few guys that were like called closers with those ball clubs, but it wasn't really adopted by a lot of the other organizations because all the other organizations, the starting pitchers like Bob Gibson wanted complete games.
Right. Catfish
Hunter wanted complete games. That's what these guys got paid for, and they didn't want to come out of games. I mean, there was games I'd come in with Catfish when I was pitching with the A's, bases loaded, nobody out, and he wants to stay in the game, and so it just got to the point where the success of 4 or 5 guys coming in late into ball games and getting out of jams and getting wins, organizations saw that and they said, well, maybe we should try this too. So, all of a sudden now you got Sparky Lyle and Tug McGraw and Kent DeColvey and Dan Quisenberry. I mean, the whole list, every team had somebody down in that bullpen, and and they were just the one guy that would come in the 5th, 6th inning, and they'd pitch to the end of the game. They were 4-inning pitchers, 3-inning pitchers. It's not like it is today where we were playing with 8, 9 guys. I mean, we went into the 72 World Series with 8 pitchers.
Wow.
Nowadays you go in with 13 pitchers.
Right.
And every pitcher today knows what inning they're going to be in.
Right.
It's
more pitchers and they're pitching less.
Yes, yeah, when they're pitching less. I mean, back then we were throwing 135, 40 innings a season and saving only 20 games.
Yeah.
And so we were pitching more, but the game has really, really changed now. It's working. I don't think I could do it the way they do it now because I needed a lot of work to stay sharp. I don't think I could go out there and pitch 1 inning and then sit down for 2 days. I needed to be on the mound to do my thing and get my control, because control's the biggest thing as a closer. You got to go out there, first pitch strike. You have to throw strike first pitch, and you have to be around the plate. You can't be catcher sitting on the outside corner and your ball's over here in the inside corner. You got to have umpires want to see guys out there that throw the ball in the area where the glove's at, and it's easier for them to call balls and strikes too. So more control is what you need. That's the 3 things you need to pitch in the big leagues. You need control.
Learn something.
You need control. You need control, and you need control. If you have those 3 things, you have no problem at all.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was a big time lesson right there from the great Rollie Fingers. Another Las Vegas guy who's all about control, Greg Maddux.
Oh yes.
Right,
and he could do it 9 innings, and he could spot pitch. He knew how to pitch. He was smart, and he had movement. That's the other thing. You got to have some movement. You just can't throw the ball straight. When the ball gets 10 feet from the plate, it's got to start doing something. It's got to go down. It's got to go this way.
How many pitches did you have?
I threw fastball, slider, and a forkball. I didn't throw a forkball I didn't throw a changeup for 9 years when I was in the big leagues. I didn't throw a changeup. I threw everything hard slider, hard fastball, cut fastball, sinking fastball.
You didn't do the change of pace.
No.
Why?
Because when I came into games, I had guys on base, and I didn't want to give them any more time to look at a pitch than I had to. So everything I threw was hard.
And then why did you introduce the forkball?
I wanted something different to maybe throw guys off balance, and I started developing a forkball when I was in San Diego. I just messed around with it in the bullpen, and I got to the point where I could get it over the plate. I couldn't really control it that good, but the big thing about a forkball is keeping your same arm speed as a fastball, and I'd put it in here, and I would throw it, and it would slip out, and it would go in 10 miles an hour slower than my fastball. But I had the same arm speed, and that's what messes up a hitter. If you can keep the same arm speed
with that,
with a forkball, and the ball goes, you're going to get them out on their front foot.
So a forkball goes which way, and which way does a knuckleball?
Well, mine, I would throw it, and I would turn it over a little bit. It would go down and away from a left-hander, or down and into a right.
And you can really control that with your hand.
Oh yeah.
I thought a forkball, like, you just don't even know where it's going to go.
No, I had an idea where it was going, but the speed is the key in a forkball.
What's harder?
You don't have to throw it. Just throw it over the middle of the plate, a forkball. And I threw a forkball for 8 years towards the end. I never gave up a home run on a forkball.
Wow.
Because everybody was always looking for stuff hard.
You know what's so crazy? And I mean, let's 114. This is what you finished with your career after 17 seasons. 114 wins, a record 341 saves at the time. 1,299 strikeouts. One more strikeout, you would have had 1,300.
I didn't know that. I wish I could have struck one more.
But you also had a 2.90 ERA. So, I mean, for a 17-year career, I mean, it's really impeccable, remarkable stuff. When you hear those numbers, I mean, what did your dad say after a career like this? I mean, because he got to really enjoy it.
Oh, he got to enjoy it. He got to go to when I went to San Diego, he lived in Upland, Cucamonga area, and so my mom and dad would always drive down to San Diego to watch me pitch. And I had some great years in San Diego. I won some Fireman of the Year awards there, but we just had a horrible team.
Right.
You know, I don't think we finished any higher than third place one year.
Right.
But no, he enjoyed going to the ball games. He was very proud.
It's a great thing. Before we wrap up, I'm gonna have you wrap up because you're the closer. So I mean, I'm not gonna be wrapping this show up. We got to have you do it. But November 7th, Revere Golf Club. It's a great opportunity not only to give back for some charity, but we get to actually interact and play with some MLB alumni legends like yourself. Tell us what this is going to be like.
Yeah, I think it was going to be 15, 16 guys there, and you're going to have one of the celebrities on each team, and a ball player, and you'll be able to interact with these guys.
Seiko, Victorino, Rollie.
They're all the guys are really good guys. You don't be afraid to talk to them, ask them a question. You ask them one question, you can ask them questions for 18 holes. They'll answer all of them.
It's going to be a great thing. It's, benefiting Shade Tree, also YFI. So, a great opportunity to get out there, play some golf on the 7th at Revere Golf Club, hang out with the great Rollie Fingers, and just have a good time. And the day before, too, on the 6th, for youngsters out there, you're not going to be there, but at the Wilson Stadium for UNLV, kids can come out. They can get a little bit of a free clinic, which is going to be a great opportunity.
That's one thing, especially with the young kids, if getting guys who have been there, guys who have been to the big leagues, they know what it's all about, and they can teach you the right way and show you the wrong ways of how to throw a baseball and, make your plays, fielding, everything. So you get good teaching.
And for all the youngsters out there, if you're trying to throw a forkball, you don't need the utensil, right?
Don't bring any forks.
Don't bring any forks. It won't do anything for you. But you can maybe learn from a great guy like this. Before we close this, and you're going to close it for me, I have one last question for you.
Okay.
Are the A's coming to Vegas? I want a yes or a no.
I would say 50-50 yes, 50-50 no.
Is that an answer? Is that a...
I don't know. I talk to them all the time, and it all depends on, like I said, the city, whether they decide they want to keep them there or not. They've got a site up there, and they've also been looking down here. I can tell you that they've got 2 or 3 sites. Where they're at, I don't know, but whatever it is, it's going to be 3 years before they come here because once they decide, now they got to build a ballpark, and it's going to take at least 3 years to build a ballpark.
All right. Well, Rollie Fingers, we love
By
having
then
you
they
here.
then they may have a better team.
Well, I'm hoping. And they got to get you as their pitching coach. Listen, the great Rollie Fingers, a Hall of Famer,
All right, thank you.
3-time World Series champion. You're going to close this up for me. So I'm just going to stand because I'm the starter pitcher. So I've left. So now you're just going to say to everybody for the Vegas Huddle, Rollie Fingers, Mike Davis. We'll see you guys.
The Vegas Huddle?
Yeah, just say the Vegas Huddle like our show. Just close it for us because you're the closer.
Okay,
I'm just gonna sit here.
From Mike and Rollie, Vegas Huddle, thank you for joining us. We had a great time. Tune in again.
That's how it's done.